Why didn't you tell me I didn't want to record it?
Everybody ready to go? I'd like to call the City of Richmond meeting to order, July 1st, 2020. Everybody please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. Our first item on is our open public forum. Anybody not on the agenda wishing to address the council, this would be your time. Seeing nobody here, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda for this evening. Your items in yellow are the additions to the packet tonight.
Mr. Mayor, when did these all come in?
We did all.
I guess my question is the variance for sure. It would have been nice to know that we could drive by there and take a look at what the area was.
Yeah,
If we would have known prior to the meeting.
that was given to Planning Commission. They had a meeting last Thursday, and then after I already had sent this out, that's when they had asked to be on the agenda individually instead of underneath Planning Commission.
It will be addressed on our planning commission also.
They'll give a full report of the whole meeting underneath Planning Commission, but this will be spoken separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other 2 items came in within the last week.
Day.
or day.
If there's no additions, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 4, approval of meeting minutes from June 3rd and June 18th, 2020.
I'd like to make a notation on the June 3rd meeting that Mr. Weir, right before our vote, kind of pretty much you say he sweetened that pot. So it's on record that right before the vote, he wanted to hopefully add the sweet to that pot. So
Offered a better deal.
from the original deal that he gave us, yes.
Okay, I can add that in there. That's what you guys would like.
Sure.
Otherwise, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Oh, go ahead, Pat.
Have a motion and a second. Any other inquiries? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of bills paid. Anything that sticks out? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve the bills paid.
So moved.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for the bills paid. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda for this evening, resolution 139-20, approval of June 2020 journal entries. Item B is resolution 140-20, authorization of temporary 1 to 4 day amendment to the liquor license at Corky's Bar for August 22nd, 2020 at Corky's Bar parking lot. That is the same day as the wine and beer as of right now. Item C is resolution 141-20, appointment of 2020 election judges. Item D, acceptance of people services June 2020 report. Any questions or comments?
Just a question on B about the Corky's parking lot. I don't have any problem being in favor of this as long as nothing changes at the state level
Yes, and that
regarding alcohol and social distancing.
it'll be contingent on any government recommendations.
Me, no more.
And it's not guaranteed a beer and wine expo happening either based on that.
No, but I
So,
mean, the more they talk, it could
could go
reel
backwards.
back a little bit, but
Yep,
we'll find out.
we'll put that as contingent based on whatever the executive orders are in place at that time.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as labeled.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 7, variance for 716 6th Street Northwest for Darren and Heather Nathan. In your packet, you have a drawing of what they would like to what they're proposing to add to their property. I understand it went to planning commission, and I'll let Tim speak on that part.
Okay. On Thursday, June 25th, they asked for a variance, and the size of the garage was a 36 by 40. Yeah, and under our ordinance, that we have anything over 1,000 feet. Square foot, thank you. Basically, we have to, it's got to be in those perimeters of that. And this here would put it at 1440, I think it is, if I recall right. 1440. And basically, if we do that, I mean, that's 44% of basically what we're over. I think what we're doing is open up a can of worms, and we've had other incidents that we said that we've had to turn down some variances, and so the planning commission voted 3-1 to deny the size of the garage. Correct, the garage? Yeah.
Accessory building.
What kind of issues did you anticipate?
Well, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, if we allowed it, then we'd have people that we said no to in the other instances of doing variances, and others that have wanted to come forward or have come forward and say, hey, I want to do this lot. For example, a 32 by 32 is 1024. And our ordinance, I don't know why, I mean, if we want to change it, we can change it. It should be changed if that's the case, but a 32 by 32 is 1024. But when they put it out as a 1,000 square foot. Well, that's only 960. And if they're going to do it, we got to change it. But otherwise, we're going to have some backlash, and we're going to open up a can of worms by doing that. So that's what that was our conclusion.
Are the individuals present to make their,
Yes.
can they step forward and make their presentation, please? Sure.
Would you like to see more paperwork or not?
Speak up just a little bit.
We have some additional paper, like aerial photo of our lot and things like that. Would you guys like those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Example of,
Can I come close enough? Right, here you go. I don't want to.
just an example.
Maybe
This
for
is-
all of you so you can see.
Yep.
Just-
This is just an example of, we did contact a builder and have them draw something up for us, approximately what we're thinking to do. There's another picture in there of something that I kind of drew up that
A
is
3D.
about, 3D one that's,
Right.
that what I would like to do.
And
Something
then,
very similar. Obviously, a few things may need to be tweaked with the builder to fit certain needs, but it's 1,416 square feet with that 2-foot bump in on the smaller garage side. We are asking for this variance and feel that it should be allowed because our situation is unique. We have 2 individual lots which now are combined, or we're in the process of being combined through the city and
in the
county.
county.
So, once they're combined, if we put this garage on there, it's, being that it should have been enough room for 2 homes plus a garage and possible accessory buildings. If we build this one building, it will be approximately 60% of what a new home on that lot would be.
That's what the red square is on your aerial
Right.
photo. Yeah.
Has you discussed any of this with your neighbors around the area and stuff too?
We have.
There we go.
Yep.
Thank you.
Jake is across the street.
Okay.
and-
So some of the ones that you've chatted with and stuff too, obviously it seems like the design that you're looking at seems to actually, kind of suit and kind of, coincide with the way your existing home looks and everything. So it's gonna kind of nicely flow and look nice and everything. And no concerns with any of the particular neighbors that you have around the area that you're looking at, obviously going something, a little bit bigger than obviously what we suggest as a recommendation within the city.
Will Hupfer would be the one who would see the most of it. He's
Okay.
right next to us, right next to 23, and he
Yep.
actually, he has an accessory building that's 24 by 40, and he said if I could do it again, I'd want it bigger, so I think you should go for it. He is in favor. Jake across the street will see it. He's in favor. We also talked to the Feltagies and Freddie Gears and Themes. All of them, nobody had a problem with who that we talked to.
And all of them are notified
With the public hearing.
Okay.
Everyone within 350 feet were notified, no
Got
one
it.
wrote to me, and no written or oral comments were given to me prior to the public hearing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat, and then I'll finish.
I just, no, go ahead, I just.
Okay, and my, just my one other suggestion and stuff too, and I know that, Tim was chatting a little bit about this with city planning and stuff too, is that the way it's been in the city of Richmond for a long time, as long as I've been on this council, is that variances are individual. So they're all an individual situation, no matter, what happens. And sometimes when they do exceed, what the parameters are supposed to be within the city. Again, too, there's some fluctuation a little bit too that can be done. So you can't base somebody else's variance on your situation and stuff too. They're all different. Every single one of them are, and that's the way we've always accepted variances and everything too. So it's kind of something that we have to kind of obviously discuss within within the city council here and stuff too. So that's the only thing that I have, Pat, right now. So go ahead.
If you, folks, do you understand, this is zone residential?
Yes.
Okay. And to me, honestly, when you ask the neighbors come and go.
Yes,
So,
we understand.
it's one of those deals where 2 months, 6 years, whatever, all the neighbors could be gone. But I believe in the ordinance book, it also says where it comes to variances that would prove an undue hardship. Please tell me what the undue hardship is.
Having adequate space for my items, what my personal properties.
And we feel like because we have that lot, that we're either going to use it or not use it. And so, I don't know how to say that. Go
One
ahead.
thing is, this company vehicle right now sits on the road usually because it does not fit in the garage. The garage that's on the house. And that would be a reason for, if you notice on that shed, the front doors are a little higher for that purpose of being able to put his work.
A little bit higher, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So there is a benefit for him.
A benefit, but here's a hardship. That's what I'm after. There isn't a hardship that, that we need
We are
2 feet
supposed
here,
to,
4 feet there.
Correct.
Having an extra lot, you want an oversized building on it. I haven't heard a hardship yet, I guess. That's the
And
key
that's
to
your
me.
opinion, and that's,
That's the key, honestly, to me. And there's a lot of people that would like bigger buildings on their property and higher buildings. Some people want 2-story, but their house is only so high.
yeah.
And the building coincides with that. Until I see an undue hardship, I would have to side with the building people. I mean, building and zoning people
The one other,
at this time, until I hear
Yep.
something different. This is where I have to stand personally.
the lots behind their property, which is all owned by Lumber One, right now they are selling them at either 1.5 acres or 2-acre lots, which will accommodate, they'll be able to put sheds up of this size on those lots because they'll be more than 1 acre.
Okay.
So it's gonna look kind of sad, we denied theirs tonight, and next week somebody buys the property right behind them and they put up a house and a shed that matches exactly what they would like to put up today. Isn't that what kind of contradictory on our part, just because they have 1.5 acres and they're building brand new versus here's an existing home and they'd like to add a shed? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, there are other parts of town where there are sheds up that are of this size that they're asking to build.
The definition of a shed to me is more like a pole barn. Okay.
A garage.
This is actually another garage.
Accessory building.
Accessory building as a garage. Now, if you were putting up some type of a pole barn or a pole shed, well, we'd be talking a total different game here. So, but like I said before too, that one of the ordinance that we wrote years ago was anytime any of these things were gonna pop up like this too, is that the rule was that it had to look as close as it possibly can to the existing home that you have right now. And by the layout and the drawing and everything that you have here, it looks like you're going to be meeting all of that. So I don't think we've got to, worry about it looking very odd in comparisons to like what your home's gonna look like. And you guys obviously don't want that either, because down the road, realistically, for yourself, if you ever decide to leave or move, or it's gonna be a great resale value for yourselves also too, to have that availability and stuff too, so.
Okay. And I just think the only thing there is, like I said, you know, if we have somebody that comes in here and does, I want to do a 32 by 32, then we're going to okay that one. And then if somebody comes in and wants to do a 34 by 34, we're going to have to do that. Where do we stop?
We're all, but you remember too, Tim.
And I'm just saying as a garage,
Right, exactly, that's understandable, but remember again too, variances are all different. They're all different individual items, and so if that's gonna be the case, where things are gonna be popping up like that more and more, then those are the decisions that we're gonna have to look at.
I'm just
Yeah, I understand where
bringing
you're
it
coming
out.
from.
Like I said, as a planning commission, that's what we have to look at.
I got it.
And I'm still going back to the undue hardship, not only
Yeah.
with, you know, they haven't been proven to me. The other thing is the hardship on the city. This was plotted for a residential home, which will bring in 5 times more amount of tax money than a garage. So to do this type of thing is basically shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, if we own it, so we won't put anything on it then either.
Well, that's up to you. If you want to just pay
But
taxes
this
on empty
really
lot, I have one of those too.
You
Adding a
guys,
shed is going to increase our
So-
tax value.
Now, I would like to say, now that we have our lots combined, if we wanted to, we could carry our garage out into that lot. And that would be allowed, as far as I am understanding, as far as building, which would make that lot non-buildable for a residential home.
If you connected it off your building.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, you connected to your
I have the option, I have the option
No
to,
question.
I
had the option.
If you add to it.
right, so I have the option to add to that building, carry it out into the lot, which now is, you cannot build a home on that lot. Or I build this off separately, looks like an accessory building. It is set back to look like an accessory building, and I believe will look more appealing to somebody purchasing home rather than a home that is dwarfed by a garage.
Right.
Ken, what was some of the discussion at the planning and zoning?
It was the same thing. I mean, being the oversized lot, oversized building, you know, basically, you know, like I just said, it's gonna be, if we want to extend and start making these bigger and want to make bigger, then we need to change it at the ordinance level. And that's what everybody agreed. We understand that everybody wants to build an extra garage. That's kind of like the going thing. I know a lot of people have done it. My neighborhood is continually always putting them up, but they're all putting it all the same size because they stayed at the level because they couldn't go bigger.
Right.
And if, like I said, if we change it, that's what basically what the.
Probably had to, Tim, also too, because they were limited in space.
No, a lot of these are big lots,
Okay.
so.
Okay,
So
so
what side?
a variation is on an individual basis, right? Because I'm learning this, okay?
Variance.
A variant, I'm sorry, variant, sorry.
Variance.
That's exactly what I wrote. Okay, within the variance, when he was talking about the hardship, is that in the actual,
Area that's in.
Area that's basically, let's take for instance, people wanted to build closer to a property line by a foot or 2 feet or something. And the hardship would be that the rooms were so small in the house that they gave them a foot or 2 feet extra to the property. So the hardship was the people having too small of a house. They were accepted that way. Other items, some people had hardships about putting up fences a little bit and to very super busy areas, and rather than a type of just remote property. So,
Gas lines coming into the house if they're out the.
so, you know, there's, variances are a slippery slope, like Tim says. It's, yes, they are individual, but I guess I have to sit with the planning and zoning.
and
I have I have one question for you. On your house, your current house you have right now, how much of your house actually faces the city street other than, that's not the garage? You have just
Just
your
our
living room,
kitchen.
just your kitchen?
And tiny laundry room.
So you have virtually one room that faces to the road, so if you were to add a onto your garage,
It would look ridiculous.
I mean, virtually you'd have one room that you see out and you're gonna see
It would
all
look
your
all
sister's
garage, yeah.
Yes.
Go off of 94 in Avon, and there's a home off of there that you can see that happened, and it's not pretty.
No, we don't want to,
I mean, to me,
Yeah.
if Pat's asking for a hardship, to me, for them to add on to their house, the way the house is designed on that lot would be, to me, would be a hardship.
Well, being a lot of 151 feet by roughly,
They're about
I believe it
three,
was 100, but I'm not quite sure.
they're about 3/4 of an acre.
It would basically be 100, roughly 8 by 151 is already a lot larger than most of the 100 by 142 in town in the first place. So,
Yeah, I want to say that our lot, we have 2 combined lots, which is larger than, there's only a handful, maybe a dozen lots. I know along the river, some of those newer lots are a
Those are
little,
big.
slightly larger, a few of those are. But with our two combined lots, it's larger than majority of any city lots in this city.
and the reason we purchased the lot in the first place was that one has some flat space in the front. Our current lot where our house sits slopes straight back.
Down towards our house.
Down towards our house. We wouldn't be able
Comes
to
directly towards
build,
our house and has mature oak trees in it.
we wouldn't be able to
So
build.
we would have to remove oak trees, build retaining walls or anything of the such to build on our current property that our house sits on. So that's why we are looking to add a garage onto the next door
The next one, okay.
lot.
Right.
So either way, we would build on that lot, which takes away from a home potentially being built there anyhow.
Our city engineer was at the planning commission meeting and did speak a little bit on this, that he was not concerned of the location of it with any drainage issues or cause any issues to the city's lift station or anything that's in that area also. So he was okay with where it would be located and how it would be sloped and everything.
Question for you guys real quick.
Please.
The 36 by 40, is that the minimum you can get by with? I know you want to build bigger, I understand that. But could you go a little bit smaller possibly or not? Or is this about where you want to be at?
So I kind of looked at what I have,
Okay.
what I know others have,
Mhm.
or, went in other garages and spent some time thinking about this. I didn't just
No.
pull the numbers out, to be able to have decent room, to be able to pull things in and not walk next to them carrying something and scratching vehicles and scratching
You always
items.
want a little,
I usually
little
have-
room in between each individual one and stuff too. Okay.
Yes.
And
All right.
as an example, 2 weeks ago, we had a full-size tractor in our garage that he's working on. I'm like, yeah, he's like Gordy. He's got stuff everywhere. Gordy's always working on something in his shed. That's him.
I like to do projects,
But he doesn't want it to
but I
be
don't
sitting
want it to
out.
be doing projects out in the yard. I don't like to have equipment for tractors or whatever I may be working on sitting out in my yard. I like to keep it in neat, make it feel like it's in town, not out in the city or out in the country.
And if something was moving forward with this and was okay, how soon are you looking at getting this project going?
We need to consult with builders
Okay.
to allow them to be,
Yeah, we
it's
need
very
to-
busy building this current year, so I need to get numbers in, and
So you're thinking, the possibility, if
It's
anything,
fall?
it could be a late fall
it
project?
could be a late fall
Or
or
it could
possibly
be a spring
first of
project,
spring
give or take.
project.
All right,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
Any other comments on this variance? How does the council wish to act?
And this is your property.
This is
Yes.
our property.
Last month, we added we added the 2 lots together.
To approve the lot combo.
We approved them together.
at this time, I make a motion to deny due to no undue hardship and to follow the planning and zoning recommendation to deny this piece of property. This variance, excuse me, not piece of property.
Second that.
Any discussion? We'll take a roll call vote. Pat?
No, against it.
Okay, let's just make sure we're no, okay.
I'm in favor of the no vote.
Okay, you're in favor of the no. Okay, Mike?
I'm in favor of moving forward with the variance, so
So
I'm
you're
a
a no.
yes.
So you're a no.
I'm a no. Jeez, but-
Okay.
You guys
Tim?
really make this difficult.
Tim?
Yes, and the no vote.
Kimberly?
No,
And
I think that I want to push it to go.
so then you,
She's a no.
she's a no. And I'm gonna vote no also.
Okay,
So how does the council wish to act?
that motion failed.
That motion fails.
Let's back up here a little bit too. How do you consider it to be failing? I thought it's a 3-2 vote.
No, but it
It failed.
Failed to deny it.
Failed to-
Oh, failed to, I'm sorry, thank you. Be a little bit more descriptive on that, thank you.
So if you want to move it forward, you have to make the, say you're in favor of the variance and moving it forward.
Well, then I'll make that a motion for the variance to be moving forward on 716 6th Street Northwest.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second, and we're gonna do a roll call vote again. Pat, so now yes means that you're in favor of it, now no means you're.
I'm sorry, got a little
I got
confusing there.
confused too, sorry.
Pat,
I'm against it.
Mike,
I'm for it, yes.
Tim,
No.
Kimberly,
Yes.
and myself will be a yes. So the variance will pass 3-2.
Okay. Then, I do, if that's the case, then I do have a resolution, more or less just stating, it's the standard one that we've done in the past, it'd be resolution 138-20 would be the number of it. It says in here that planning commission did deny it, but then that city council is requesting the variance. This is what I would need to get approved to send to the county to be recorded. So, with Mike's motion, since that's approving it, do you also want to approve resolution 138-20, or do you want to
Yes,
do
I
it
do.
separate?
Yeah, no, I'll do that.
Okay.
Do we have to act upon it, or do you want to leave it as part of that?
It's up to you guys how you want to do it. If you want to act upon it, or if you want to just add it in with that resolution.
Probably,
Let's just add it in.
Okay.
probably should.
Resolution 138-20, approving of the variance,
Yep.
just so we have a record of it.
Yeah.
Yep. It does not have a proper ID number in there yet because the county has not given the lot combo a new ID number. So it won't get sent to the county until I get that from them. I've been calling them. The recorder's office did not talk to the auditor's office, so it's kind of in limbo right now. But I would assume I should get one here shortly because everything's done on the Nathan's end as far as paperwork and payments, so it's just the county to do their end.
Okay.
So, once I get that, I'll plug that number in, and then we'll get it recorded.
So Mike, do you want to move resolution 138-20?
Yes, I said I will. Yes, I did say that, I will.
Okay, perfect.
Are you going to second it?
I'll second it.
Okay,
I was-
perfect.
And then we'll put it to a roll call vote just to be, so it's on the record.
Okay,
Pat,
No,
Mike,
Yes,
Tim,
No.
Kimberly,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. So the
Perfect.
resolution passes 3-2.
awesome.
All right, anything else on the variance? If not, we'll move on to our next item up, the Legion sign in your packet. The Legion has brought us a sign for out at Centennial Park for the Richmond Vietnam Last Man's Club. They came a couple of, I wanna say a year and a half or 2 years ago, and they were gonna be getting a sign, and now they've gotten their sign, and they're, if you look on the park picture, where that flower is there, or that plant, that is where they're wishing to put this stone.
At the big
it's
bush.
a monument.
It's a monument.
Yep, monument.
It'll be the same kind of monument colors as the other one that's right next to it.
okay.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Fir Avenue repair and quotes, Mr. Blummel.
Good evening. All right, at your last meeting in early May, it would have been, we talked about getting quotes for replacing that sewer on Fir Avenue. We did get those quotes in, and they were pretty much along the lines of what I expected. I think I told you guys 10,000, we're a few bucks short of that. So pretty good. Gherkins would be doing the underground, at about $6,000. And then Knife River, who's gonna be in town for the county, would do the paving at about $39.50. So pretty much in line with what we wanted, replace that service there, get it out of the right of way, and then put a decent enough patch back there until we can get over there and do, you know, the streets in total.
Was it one service or two?
We're gonna do two because they're right next to each other. It'd be crazy not to.
The one on the east is close, or?
Yeah, they're within about 5 feet, Pat. Yeah, it just makes nothing but sense if we got it open.
Right.
So you're actually replacing the whole section there?
We'll replace about 20 feet of main line pipe, or 10, it'll depend on how the joints line up. And then 2 services out to the right of way either side. So,
And when can this look at being worked on and accomplished? Is it
So-
sometime this year?
definitely.
Definitely this
Yes,
year?
because Knife River isn't gonna pave it unless they're in town for the county work.
That's
So,
right, That'll be here for the
yeah,
county.
yeah, so they'll be here in the middle of July, so I'm thinking within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it'll be pretty quick, so.
So we don't have to worry about it, the city doesn't have to worry about when the work's done, who's gonna prep it for the tar? Is
So-
it River, or is?
So Gherkin's bid includes backfilling with gravel. Knife River's bid includes shaping for paving. So, yeah, all taken care of.
So all day.
Yep.
Okay. So at this time, so we want to move to have.
Make a motion to approve Gherkin Brothers Incorporated bid along with the tarring bid.
Knife River's tarring bid?
Yes.
Okay.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else for us, Dave?
No, I'm listening to it.
One other question.
Yeah.
I know we talked about televising.
Oh, good thought.
Oh,
That.
yeah.
Even if we had it done, what is it, 8, 9 years ago?
2013.
13, so it's 7 years ago. Don't you think it'd be in our best interest to have that done and be done with it?
Absolutely.
First Street would be First Street South.
East.
And east, so.
Southeast.
Yes.
We've had 2 problems already,
Yep,
Yeah.
last year and this year.
right.
So I think in our best interest, we're better off, let's see what's going on. And maybe then we can compare from 13 to now,
Well,
what's,
yeah. and
what's
given-
happened.
And given that giant root that showed up at the wastewater plant that we're pretty confident came from that area, you know, that's dislodged for now, but it's gonna come back. So yeah, anything we can see, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, it's a
So
good idea.
we want to do this on a separate work order type deal thing and not, because I know I brought to you guys numbers for doing a maintenance program with a company. So then we'd be on a 4-year rotation. And so that's why I'm just wondering if we do this outside of that, we're going to be paying at a higher rate of what you would of a maintenance program.
didn't the city have Hennon Water Works do it? A couple of years ago, he did a whole bunch of them, or was that individual services?
I think that's just I don't
I
know if he has
I
the
don't know
300
that.
feet, I think he
No.
only has like 100 some odd.
I don't think
going out
he's
to the
fully
road.
equipped to do
Right.
that
Well, it's
type
not
of
worth it. I mean,
task.
it's
Can
worth
you-
a question, I mean,
Can you
Yeah.
give us some quotes from somebody that can televise that?
a couple different
Yeah, sure.
companies or
Yeah,
somebody.
I know another one that we can get numbers from. We have one, we'll get another one, sure.
Quam, I think, does that now too, don't they?
Well, and I'll have Nelson
Johnson
on a race take a look
and
at
Rice.
it too.
The thing is this way, if we have some major issues there, maybe we might have to address it before.
Let's address it while we can.
Well, yeah, we know it's a problem, let's see how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that allows you nothing but making a good decision in the future, so.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
No, that's a good thought, Jim. I was gonna talk about that, I totally forgot, so I appreciate you bringing that up.
And you said the county's coming probably middle of.
So yeah, it was scheduled for after Lake Days, but obviously that's not happening, so the schedule for them pretty much stayed the same. So, you know, I would say somewhere around the 18th, 20th in that range there, so mid to late.
And they will just replacing the top, correct?
Yes, and any settled portions of sidewalk and curb that they see, but it's mostly just the pavement, yes. Yep. All the way down though, so it's not just a mill, they are gonna take all of it out.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how long that would take?
Boy, so there are 2 separate 4-block segments. The segment on County Road 67 on the east side is actually a mill and overlay. The portion on the main street closest to downtown is actually pulling all the pavement off. I would expect the more work segment to be 2 to 3 weeks and the other one probably a couple, 2-3 days. So yeah, less than a month overall.
All right.
Any other questions?
All right, thanks guys.
All right, thanks, Dave.
We will move on to the department report. We'll start with the police department report for this evening.
Mr. Mayor, Council, good evening. Start off with just a monthly report for May. In Richmond, we had 80 total incidents, 6 medicals, 6 suspicious activities, 15 traffic stops with 5 citations, and then 53 miscellaneous calls for service. One of the things we've been having going on lately, and actually just seen an article, I think in WJON last week from St. Joe, that we've been seeing groups of people going from town to town, checking for open cars, and they're actually going into garages and that type of thing. Best thing you can do to protect yourself is just lock your doors, lock your cars, remove valuables from the cars, and they move on. It's just, they spend anywhere from a half hour to an hour in each town, grab what they can, and then they move on. So it's hit or miss if we come across them. If anybody sees anything, we're on 24 hours a day. Let us know so we can at least check it out.
Daytime or nighttime, right?
It seems to be, yeah. They're kind of checking, depending on traffic and that kind of stuff, it can be all day. We also have a 2015 Chevy Impala and a Can-Am that, well, the Impala was an old squad car, the Can-Am was forfeited from a DUI. They're currently for sale. They're by sealed bid. We have the form on our website, and they need to be in by Friday, July 10th by noon. And if anybody's interested in those vehicles, we have them on our Facebook page. They're also sitting by Public Works in Cold Spring. And then scams the last 2 or 3 weeks we've seen a big increase for some reason. I don't know what it is, if it's just in our area right now, but a lot of phone calls. There's been the computer scams where something pops up on your computer, you click on it, and it gets your information. So don't open anything that looks suspicious. Don't give out any information over the phone. If anybody has questions, we have our investigator does a presentation for fraud, scams, that kind of stuff, if anybody would be interested in that. We actually had a guy going around town today, in Richmond here today, going door to door. We don't know if he was legitimate or not, but didn't have a peddler's permit through the city. Last I heard, the officers were out looking for him, hadn't located him yet. So even if it looks legit, make sure they have everything there that just don't give out any personal information.
I just have 2 FYIs. What is a DANK violation?
Domestic use, no contact order.
Okay. Makes sense.
No, absolutely. If you-
The other thing is, in May, what type of special detail would you have been in?
I can look it up and check.
It just doesn't, it's not really a month in the middle of summer, like a specialty or arena specialty, type thing. In May, I'm not quite sure what it would be.
No, I can look that up and let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I have one question, Jason. Pertaining to, are we still kind of keeping an eye on properties in general and around the city of Richmond and stuff too? For example, for like miscellaneous junk and stuff that's been sitting around for a while. I know, we worked with the abandoned car issues for a long time, and everything, trying to clean that all up. Are we still keeping an eye on a lot of that stuff currently right now too?
Because of everything going on this summer, we went more to a complaint-based.
Okay.
And then we'll pick it back up next year, but just without the physical contact of walking out with people, showing them what's wrong, that kind of stuff. So we went more to a complaint-based or something that's just obviously out of whack.
No problem. No problem, just a quick thing that I thought of. All right, that's all I have.
Just a reminder, again, I had some citizens stop at my place of business asking about 2nd Street speed again, so.
Okay. I know that
you have a truck or something out there.
Yeah, the truck's been on Main Street for a while.
But this is 2nd Street.
Yep,
northeast.
Yeah.
They say.
We'll get the other one we talked about was Main Street. They're coming, they're barreling down there. I mean,
Potholes aren't slowing them down.
What's that?
The potholes aren't slowing them down.
No, I'll make sure, see where the speed truck's at right now and hopefully get it out there shortly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to the fire report. Chief Jesse Coleman.
Good evening, Council Mayor Tessa. Start off real quick, calls for June, we had 6 medicals, 1 good intent, call 1 fire, call 1 propane leak. After this report, we ended up with 1 more medical, so we have a total of 10 calls. Training took place outside. We're doing water rescue, used our boat, cold water suits, ropes, knots, our floating pump along with pump training as well. So that turned out pretty great there. Nice weather for it. So water's still a little chilly. Truck detail, the rescue truck, pumper one, and tanker all got serviced on the 26th. So that's all good to go. All fire equipment is in working order as of now. Grants, for the FEMA grant, there's nothing new to report. Firehouse sub-grants, there's nothing to report. Today I just received an email that we did get rewarded $1,000 for that CenterPoint Energy grant for that 4 gas meters. So we'll be looking for the check for that too. So
And that was a 50/50 one?
that was a 50/50, yep.
Okay.
So, other topics, the posting for the members of the fire department went in the Cold Spring Record. It is also posted on social media as well. Our next fire meeting is July 8th at 7 o'clock. If anyone wants to join us, please feel free. And just a word of advice with the current heat and the storms going on in the area. Just make sure everybody stays hydrated, cool. Also goes for their pets as well. The temperature in a closed vehicle raises tremendously in minutes. And also with those recent storms coming through, just make sure everyone stays sky aware and everything. So, last but not least, if you can see right over here, this year was sitting in our fire hall for a couple months now. People at the Granite Company got this here for nickel or for pennies on a dollar. So it's been sitting. A couple people was asking, you know, what we can do with it, where we can put it, you know, what the ideas are. Excuse me. The ideas that we have are, if you look walking into the fire hall, or sorry, city hall, on the left-hand side, there's that black granite. An option was to put it there, or the other second option was to put it above the AED on the fire hall side. So this was just kind of throwing it out there and kind of feeling you guys out what you guys would prefer, if any. So.
I believe it would look nice in the black granite.
I looked at it, it would fill that void.
Sure.
Okay, that figures, because I would like it right above the AED, that would be so cool.
So.
No, that would, I think that would.
And it, no cost to the city. I mean, this is all through relief, and I mean, we're talking, I haven't worked there for how many years? I don't know what they run, but it's not cheap. My guess would be a couple, $2-3 grand for that, so.
It feels like the way you was lifting it, felt like it's not cheap.
So, if
I make
you're.
a motion that it be mounted on the city hall black granite.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed?
presume that you would get somebody, I shouldn't say professional, I would say somebody
Expertise.
expertise on how to mount it.
Professional, yeah. Yeah, something like that you don't want to just throw.
I don't think it's gonna get bolted on, but you never know.
Cool, very nice.
Yeah, it's nice, thanks Jesse for bringing that in.
With that said, I have nothing else, unless you guys have any questions, comments for me at all.
No? Okay, thanks a lot.
Public Works, obviously not here tonight. I do have a couple items that I think should get addressed. I don't understand why the Public Works building does not have a flag flying. I mean, to me, it's a city building, it should have a US flag there every day.
Public Works on the east
On
end
the
of
east end
town.
of town, should have one.
Are we,
And then
are we just missing one, or have we, I thought we've had one out there at one time.
I haven't seen one for the last 2 weeks.
There is a pole.
There's a pole.
Yeah, oh, there's a snow flag.
And then the one right on Oakwood, I would really appreciate if that was gone before the weekend, because it's all tore.
What's that?
The flag that's on Oakwood, right on that corner by the house there, on Oakwood from the Public Works going to like to Lakes Gas.
Yep,
The flag on that corner is all tore.
well, that's all tore up, okay.
It's a pretty sad sight when that's the first flag you see when you come into town and it's tore.
I'll go a little bit further, that all of them get taken down and unraveled. I don't know why they're all, nobody has unraveled it, that some are just regular, there has to be time in a day to do something like that. So,
And then it was brought up to me by a couple different people, there's a few stop signs in town that do not reflect at night. And I know a few years ago, I believe the state pushed it or the county did that, all stop signs have to be reflective.
Yeah, that was
I don't know which ones, I
few
remember
years
the guys
ago.
talking about, there's a few of them that they've driven through in some of the off streets and they don't reflect. You virtually drive right up to them and then you finally can see, your lights have to touch them to see the stop sign. They should be reflective.
maybe we should ask law officers to do that.
Well, I just,
You know, to write down which one.
I mean, I'm just saying, those are a couple things that were brought up to me about the public works that should get done.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything that, I mean,
No, I noticed
Well,
that the
it's-
fire hydrants all got painted, which was very nice. I'm not quite sure if the labels or the flags designated for the snow has been looked at, if they're all there or not. I haven't noticed. But I know that they were worked on, that I asked a couple months ago, and they were done, so I'm not quite sure about the markers.
I also see there's a maintenance for crack sealing. Obviously, there's one, I believe there's a difference of what, 11 cents from one to the other. Either Aztec or Midwest Asphalt Maintenance. Do we wanna make a recommendation to them on which one to go with?
Is this gonna be, stuff gonna be delivered?
I'm not 100% sure. I just received these this afternoon and Gordy said he was gonna be here tonight, so I don't have a lot of information on it.
Something came up there, yeah. The way it says is failed cracks will be blown clean at high pressure. It sounds like they're doing it. So, yeah.
Like they'll seal the cracks.
The Aztec one or which one?
Midwest.
On the Midwest
Field.
seal the cracks will be treated with DTAC and prevent cracking and stuff. So, yeah, it looks like that's
I thought we had our own equipment to do this, or he has.
That's air patch.
That's air
It's air
patch.
patch.
patching.
That's an air patch.
This is actually putting that, when you see that white stuff they put down
Right.
in the crack and
Yeah.
fill or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what he's doing with these two bids.
Yep. I'd say stay with the Midwest, there.
So,
Have we used either one of these companies, I guess?
You've
We've
used
used both
Midwest.
of them.
You've used
Oh, we have?
both, but Midwest is the one that has been the most
Oh,
frequent
okay, all
one.
right, okay.
Yeah, these aren't new.
I guess I'd look for a motion to move one or the other. Obviously, we have a few streets that need to be fixed.
I just make a motion to accept the Midwest asphalt bid, and I mean, first one, if they can do it, and this time that he wants it, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
So according to this, they're gonna come out and do it.
And I can verify that, but yes.
Yeah. please.
So we shouldn't have any labor invested.
I suppose, except for just telling them where, giving them the route or what areas.
Well, it's 68,000, so.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Just, on one, it says approximately 6,000 to 8,000 pounds, and the other one doesn't say the same.
It does.
Yep, right.
6 to 8,000.
Yep, they're both 60.
They
Not
both
to
say-
exceed the 8,000.
And it does, and up here it says,
That's where I seen it back here, I didn't see it
Yeah,
up front.
he put it that way because he doesn't want them to like stop in the middle of a road. He would like it finished, so that part I do.
yeah, it says description of jobs up there, it says Craig Seal City Street, so yeah.
It would be nice to know which ones, so we could
I'll
pass
have
this
them,
on to the taxpayers.
I'll have a list put together and
Workshop.
we'll get it sent out, yeah.
Any other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second to approve Midwest
That's fine.
Asphalt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anybody else have anything about Public Works? EMS, there's nobody here. Parks and Arena, there's no report. We'll move on to EDA report. Mike or Kimberly?
Yeah, Kim, you can chime in a little bit too.
That
I'd
was the
appreciate that. We did have a meeting on June 16th. It was actually with a joint meeting with the City Council and the Richmond EDA. One of the main discussions that we needed to look at and get an approval with the city council was the Prill property purchase agreement that we've been talking about through the EDA. And the discussion mainly during the whole meeting was pretty much pertaining to that and getting the council's blessing to be able to continually move forward on that, which they did. So we appreciated the council again spending some time during our EDA meeting. And we also had Tracy Ryan was here to answer questions along with our attorney, Adam Ripple was here too. So that was discussed in length. We also had a few members from the city council that stayed to continuation of our EDA meeting, so we appreciated them sticking around, listening to a few of the other things that we've been talking about. And Tracy Ryan, kind of explained our work plan that we've kind of been looking at for 2019. Obviously because of COVID-19 and stuff too, there's been some issues with not being able to do some of the things that we were looking at, but we are still continually moving forward. We have looked at the possibility of figuring out a bike trail on some of the roads here in Richmond, which would be marked and labeled so that we could have people coming off of the bike trails and then looking at going into the downtown area and stuff too. So that's been one of our discussions, to be able to see how safely we can do that and mark that correctly. And then other than that, I think that's about one of the main things we've been chatting about the most. Kimberly, do you have anything you'd like to add?
We just kind of discussed about some branding, making some branding logos for the city, new city letterhead, something for some change. We talked about that. And looking at some art displayed around town. Bring some jazz to it.
All right. All right, and that's all we have. And our next meeting is the July 28th. We're going to hear continually here, right? We're going to, as of right now, and it'll be at 6:30. So again, our meetings are open to the public.
And that's a special date because that'd be the fourth Tuesday instead of the third Tuesday. But since Music in the Park falls on the 21st of the third Tuesday, it was asked to be moved
to the 28th, correct?
To the 28th, yes.
Do I have any questions for Mike?
Oh, so got it.
And we'll move on to Planning Commission, Tim?
Planning Commission, of course, we talked about the variance and the discussions with the folks on Darren and Nathan over there. And then we also talked pretty much, we kind of discussed about our building permits, what we were looking at, the dates, what we had, and it's pretty much, I think we're pretty much on, pretty much about the same as we were last year, I think. Tessa, I think we were kind of discussing.
We're starting to catch up.
Yeah, and considering what it is with what's happened with the COVID, I think we're doing quite well, so.
And I got another new home build for today, permit. Do you want to talk about Centennial Meadows?
Yes, and I'll just kind of brief and you kind of help me fill in on that. We had some folks that came in and talked to us about Centennial Meadows, which is the old Aho project up there in the northeast corner up there, thank you.
Up by Jim's.
By Jim's place up there, and kind of brought in kind of a diagram of what they want to do, and they want to start it into 4 different phases. So the first phase would, they'll start with, like I said, one first phase, but the first phase will be pretty much kind of like facing the city more. It'll be kind of from going from looking east to west over there.
22 homes is what they're projecting in the phase 1. Phase 1 would be going, and this is where we'll have to try and clean up some street names in this area because we have a lot of different ones based on, some of them used to be in township, some city in that corner there. But if you continue Oakwood up, a start of the homes would be coming down on that west side, so they'd have their driveways off the road access, and then the rest of them would be coming off from 2nd Street there. So there'd be no road infrastructure put in just yet. That won't start until phase 2, but their plan is,
Especially in the wintertime for snow removal.
there'll be a total of 97 homes between all 4 phases at this time. Right now, we are getting things ready to do the preliminary plat public hearing for the July Planning Commission meeting. So we're in that process right now, but that's great news for Richmond to see that that is moving again.
Yeah, that's really great.
Definition of road construction, or road?
Right now, we're looking at Dave was at that meeting, that's why he was at the meeting, our engineer, he's gonna look at Second Street's condition to see if there's something that we need to do there. It's obviously on our street improvement project, but we're gonna see what the condition is. The other thing is Style property, that's just south of it. We're not sure what the future plan of that is, so we're not sure the future grade of what that road may need to be. Style has been contacted as far as this project coming along in case he would like to get services put on his property at the same time. And then also looking at big picture wise as far as what is he wanting or looking at doing for that property. So there's been a couple different things that have been looked at, discussed, but there's gonna need to be some surfacing done of that portion of Second Street.
So the goal of bringing water and sewer out there is coming from by the maintenance garage, that intersection?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Yep, if I remember right.
It was.
And I can send the big plans that SEH had given to us. They had their engineer, her name was Carrie, she was here on behalf of Coonsey Farm Investments. And then I'll send the big plans with everything on there as far as all the grading, everything. But if you want to pass that around,
Yeah,
Tim, that's
here you go, we can
the
kinda
general idea of what
qualify
they're looking.
over there and you guys bring it back and that gives you an idea of what it looks like there.
So as part of that, is that gonna include water piping all the way down to the end of, like by the bus company and bringing the water pipes around for fire purposes? Because otherwise. Looping it around. Because right now, if you only come down one street and bring water, you're virtually feeding 97 houses with one stream of water. Versus if you looped it, you'll have better, I would hope we'd have better water going that way. And then obviously, we talked about krills as well. You're kind of in that same ballpark.
Could be in that same ballpark.
This is where they'll start, right in here.
But if you do
Right in
that,
here.
you know, I'm sure, and that's something we can look at, but I suppose cost-wise of the developer, and if that's not cost efficient for them, are they gonna wanna pay the extra of looping that around? But those are things that we can discuss. Like I said,
Right.
I'll email out the plans that SEH sent to me, and you guys can look through them. If you have any questions, you can always email me back, and I can pass them along to the proper person.
It's good news, it's really good news.
And moving forward, and if everything kind of continually goes forward and everything seems to be matching up, are they still, is this something that this is going to be starting this year's project, or are we talking about the possibility of spring of next year? That they would look at maybe going on this first phase?
I mean, we could probably rush to do the final plat, but there's crops in there right now. So we're thinking we'd rather just take our time with it, do it correct the first time.
Okay.
And then also they can probably get better numbers with contractors if they do a spring, because then they're not trying to
Okay.
squeeze into full schedules already.
Makes sense.
And then they'd have the winter to get their numbers and bids and
Yeah.
stuff. So.
I mean, our ears are open, I mean.
We did ask the question as far as what their time frame was. They didn't really have a set time at this point, but they want to continue moving forward on it.
That's a good thing.
So for them to spend the money and move forward on first engineering, much less preliminary plat is good.
Yep, all right, so
So
Just a question on this, maybe Tim can answer. It says 900 feet less street. Is that from one side to the other, or just?
from their first,
On the first one, where originally, if you've seen, see all the different streets that they had in there? Yeah.
But no, my question is, the way this counts out, they're not gonna be 100 foot lots.
we're going to be doing a PUD.
There's a few of them, yeah.
So we're throwing out, okay.
So-
The planning zone. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Anything else you have, Tim, for planning commission?
That's all I got on that, like I said, everything, that's those three things I want to talk about, so, yep.
Ricori Trail, you have a meeting tomorrow?
We have a meeting tomorrow,
We were awarded
We-
$130,000 from the DNR grant.
almost $131,000 from the, it's the Federal Recreation Trail Program.
Yeah. If we get the money we've requested, whether it's through the bonding bill or the LCCMR, neither have been approved yet, so we haven't been completely thrown out. But if we are awarded either one of them, this $130,000 will be the gap that we were missing that the cities would have had to fork in.
Perfect.
So it could be 100% fully paid for through grant money because we have almost $1 million in money right now that we
Right.
could start a portion of the project if we
This
wanted
is,
to.
this is great news for us.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it came out of,
Yeah.
this is really, really good news. Because that gap was the main thing that we were all going, okay, this is gonna be that problem. And that really filled that gap for us.
Yep.
So if we get this bonding bill go through, finish up, this would be wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
either one, bonding bill or the LCC MAR, they're both in the runnings yet for
Yep.
us, and both would really just help finish up this next phase for us.
So that's tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in Rockville.
Yes.
Okay, other matters of concern, I do have just one question. Music in the Park for July 21st, is that still on or not, or what?
As far as I know, I spoke with Kevin this morning, he was gonna confirm a little bit more on that band because it's not the full band that it's supposed to be and so he was getting some more information. I have nothing indefinite on it just yet.
Well, we would
So-
I mean, we would definitely like to make it a go, for July 21st. So that's the first things I've actually heard about. The
Kevin
possibility
and I
of the
just
band. Okay.
spoke about it today,
All right.
this morning,
Okay.
because I was doing stuff on the website and I was like, I asked him if that's the band that we're using and then that's when it came up. It's also, I think, the bank sponsor night too.
It is.
It is.
So, and I'm not sure where they're at as far as moving forward with it or not yet. I haven't heard any other way, so.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to play it out again. Obviously, this is all contingent on if there's any new news
Changes.
from the
The
governor.
state level, we don't know either, so.
Yep.
Okay.
I just want to ask. Otherwise, our next meeting is July 16th here at the arena again.
I have one thing, Pat, I know you had asked as far as the properties with the sewer backup, if they were allowed dumpsters. And I did talk to the adjusters, they were all told to get dumpsters. I know there was a property in general that we've had complaints on and had stuff there. I personally gave them a call and said a dumpster better be there this week. If not, I would be sending out a nuisance violation, which then would go to the police department to be taken care of.
Okay.
So they have been informed verbally, and if that's not taken care of, then written complaint will be taken care of that. But yes, they were all told that they were able to get that and checks were already dispersed and done, so.
Does anybody have anything they wish to add to next council meeting? Something that you thought of?
Not off the top of my head.
Our auditors will be at the next meeting. I'm not sure if they'll physically be here or if it'll be web conference. Their policies are slowly going back to allowing them to start going to cities,
Okay.
but we're not 100% sure yet.
Okay. Cool.
Anybody have anything else to add for the evening? If not, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.